Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
And a very good morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And joining us on the set this morning is the news editor of that wonderful newspaper, The Island. And very good morning to you, Shamindra Ferdinando.
Good morning to you, Faraz.
It's wonderful having you here, and it's amazing that you turn up here on time. Thank you for that.
I always come before 7.
You do, always
yes,
before 7. Indeed, indeed. Otherwise, there's that producer you need to contend with. Very vicious, you know, comes down hard on you.
From Hatton?
From Hatton, indeed. That's the one. That's the one. Now then, Mr. Ferdinando, can you tell me what on earth is going on? But of course, something has happened yesterday that seems to have answered some of the questions. Minister Faisal Mustafa says that it will, the delimitation report and so on will be gazetted today. Isn't that good news?
Yeah, I think so. But the issue is whether they are going to have the elections as early as possible. They have put off the elections by over an year. So the joint opposition has been demanding early elections. So, but we feel for some reason the government, I mean the SLFP, the partner in this coalition, is scared to face this election.
Are they scared, or are they growing increasingly unhappy with their marriage partner, the United National Party?
See, for us, the SLP is in deep trouble because of the joint opposition. So a section of the SLP, very influential section of the SLP, is opposed to the SLFP, led by President Maithripala Sirisena. So they have an issue there. So they are trying their best to come to some sort of arrangement on the order, not the orders, I mean, with the advice of President Sirisena. Chief ministers of several provincial councils recently met former president.
Wasn't that just to have discussions and to get a better feel of matters across the nation?
No, I don't think so. I don't think the SLFP can face this election unless both factions come together. So they have a huge issue there, and at the same time, the SLFP is. That's the faction led by the president, is having a huge issue with the UNP. Now, day before yesterday, the chief minister of the Western Provincial Council, Isura Devapriya, he came on television, he addressed the media, he requested the president to handle the national economy and law and order situation. So,
it appears that it was a choice, a decision that, in retrospect now, perhaps our president is regretting not having the law and order situation and the finance ministry under him, because when you look at the record, you know, the people can only go on the track record, and the track record is abysmal. In the last 2 years, the dollar, for example, was, as you know, was 130. It's gone over the 150 mark now. Yes. The stock exchange is just languishing. It's doing nothing. There are 29 brokers, and the volumes are so poor. And at the same time, they're trying to bring in legislation necessary in a robust market, but not in an almost dead market. Foreign direct investment is down. The government have given 15,000 acres on a 99-year lease, Hambantota Port, to Chinese company. The payment is $1.2 billion US, which at today's exchange rates works out over 99 years. It's 1,188 months, okay? But per day, it's only 5 million rupees. Now, when the economy is faltering and when local companies are struggling, the government awards this project to a Chinese company. They could have asked the local companies to get together and run it. After all, they're running the South Terminal. And 5 million rupees a day in foreign currency is not a lot of money for these big companies.
But for us, you must realize that the South Terminal is also controlled by outsiders.
Exactly.
Yes.
However, the larger logistics companies in this country, to about 4, they can quite easily do this project. But they weren't given a chance. There's no request for proposal, nothing. It's just directly negotiated by the Prime Ministerial team with the Chinese, having, rubbished the Chinese when they first came in.
Yeah.
And then, bowl in hand, gone back to the Chinese again. But it appears that there is a real sense of disappointment amongst the people.
I think for us, the government has no option. No. Now see, you take the president. The president has no option but to cooperate with the UNP because the UNP made him the president, right? So whether the SLP is not happy with UNP policies, the way the UNP handle the economy, at the end of the day, the UNP and the SLP will have to move forward, work together. And I am sure whatever the differences, whatever the issues, bond scam, then various other issues, corruption, this government at the highest level will try to remain together until 2020. Until 2020, right? So, whatever the issues now, see, as an example, every issue, the agreement, the proposed economic agreement with India, the Chinese investment, every issue.
There's not one that has been done and seen through to fruition.
And actually, for us, only when it comes to perks and privileges of members of parliament representing all political parties, they agree.
They agree and it's done and dusted.
Yes.
All signed off and put into action.
Yes, there's no issue there. So 100,000 rupees special allowance, duty-free permits, and a range of facilities given to members of parliament, their staff, and their people, their henchmen, associates, whatever. Every other issue is an issue. There's a dispute over every issue. Just tell me one issue except these perks and privileges to members of parliament. These people can agree? No.
Now, have you written any letters yet under the right to information?
No.
No.
But we have obtained a lot of information. Now, recently we revealed the names of the members of parliament who sold their vehicle permits and who purchased them.
Right.
So no action taken. A lawyer has moved the Supreme Court against the members of parliament and also the bribery commission.
But what good is the courts? Because I'm glad you mentioned courts here and this matter. Now, I don't want to mention the specific thing, but the second highest court in this country, the Court of Appeal, gives a judgment and requests certain course of action. Now, instead of complying with the ruling
given by
which means that if you comply with the ruling, it means that you respect the judiciary and you respect the rule of law. Instead of doing that, they exercise what they say is their democratic right to protest, which we all agree that we all have that right.
Yes.
But they inconvenience thousands of people who are disconnected from this matter, and then engage in a bit of blackmail and threat of strike action and so on. What does that say about the ruling of the Court of Appeal? Isn't that a slur? Isn't that a dilution of their independence? Which is why we all voted for in the first place. You know, rule of law and so on.
So for us now, the ruling given in respect of this case, Saitam.
Yeah.
So it's up to the Sri Lanka Medical Council.
Yes, exactly. However, my question is this. It could be Saitam, it could be anything.
Yes.
When the court rules,
yes,
if it is not to your liking and not to your expectation and not according to how you work things out, and if you think, well, no, and if you think, no, this can't do, you've got an option. You can go the next step. You can appeal. You can go to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
That's the process. But in the meantime, you can't be holding the government to ransom.
I mean,
because the minute you start negotiating with government, because you don't want to comply with the court ruling, that's only one step away from anarchy.
No, see, for us it's up to the Sri Lanka Medical Council to implement it. Now they will take the decision today.
Yeah.
They will decide today whether to appeal to the Supreme Court. So it's up to the Sri Lanka Medical Council. This government, the government wants the Medical Council to accept this ruling because the government is with Saitam. Very clearly, because I saw a UMP nationalist MP, Ashu Marasinha, with a group of civil society people addressed the media this week.
Yeah.
And they demanded the implementation of the Court of Appeal ruling. So the previous government, you know, for us, we must remember, we must always keep in mind that this item was approved by the previous government in 2000, early part of 2009. Right? So in 2012 March, I remember the then Health Minister Maithripala Sirisena handed over a report on Saitam to former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. That was in March 2012. So you will see that both the SLFP, the SLFP-led UPFA and the UMP, they have taken one side on this. They are together. The GMO is opposed to it, but a section of the doctors are with Saitam. So it's a political issue, you know, it's a huge political issue, and we'll see today in the evening what the SLMC will say on this matter.
Good. Now, let's move on to this other bit here. I don't want to mention it, but we'll have to because it's always in the news. And that's about the bond. Now, the government of the central bank says that he's referred part of that, they're carrying out an investigation, but parts of it is beyond the central bank, and it has been referred to the IGP.
Yes.
Now, I really want to say this. Why is it, or what level of confidence can you as Joe Public, and I as Joe Public, and everybody else out there as the public, what level of confidence can we have in the police's ability to do this, whatever, investigation, when we have the head of that police department who was promising somebody ahead of an investigation that person, whoever it was, mystery person, mystery case, mystery circumstances, mystery everything, that person, whoever it was, would not be arrested ahead of an investigation. So if that is some ordinary person that the IGP is talking about, then what level of impunity must have been on offer, or must be on offer, to a person who was the head of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, no less. So, do you know, what I'm trying to say is that the public are viewing all these things with a great deal of sadness, suspicion, disdain, and with no respect. And so when legislators are engaging in bending the law, which according to the same police chief, you can bend the law but not break it, then when legislators are also engaging in bending the law and breaking the law and ignoring rules and procedures, especially when it comes to procurement and processes, then do you not expect The people. How can you complain when the people follow suit?
Oh, for us, in this country, it's not fair to blame the IGP.
No, I'm not blaming him. I'm just using one example.
But I've been in this business for about 30 years with the island. And every police chief, they had no option to cooperate with the government. Now, you see, in Tamil Nadu, the person who was eyeing the chief minister's post, she had been sent to jail.
Indeed.
Can that happen in this country? Nothing
well, I don't know, but don't you think the last time this happened, and the late Jayalalitha was inside, she had her proxy run the place until she worked matters out and came out again. Do you think Sashikala is doing that, working matters out right now?
Yes, obviously, it's very clear what's happening in this country. But in this case, the bond scam, now it's beyond the IGP's control, because the President has appointed a commission of inquiry.
Yeah.
So the commission of inquiry will make submissions to the President, and the President will forward them to the Attorney General. So it's up to the Attorney General to decide on the basis of the commission of inquiry report. But I feel if proper action is taken against the former governor of the central bank, this government will collapse. Right? The UMP has been trying to
hide this matter.
To defending the former governor at COPE, at every level, both in and outside Parliament.
What do you think is the problem here? Why can't they just let go and say, look, COPE is not satisfied with you, the Auditor General is not satisfied with you, the Central Bank report on internal matters, that's not looking pretty. And why can't they say, can you kindly go back to where you've come from and curl up and go away?
For us, now it's too late, right? If that sort of action taken in early part of 2015, this happened in late February.
But to be
now
fair,
it's too late. Now, whether they like it or not, the UMP will have to defend Arjuna Mahendra. Otherwise, they'll have to explain why did they fail to take action against him since early part of 2015 until early part of 2017. So it's a huge issue. So the UMP, I believe, will continue to defend Mr. Arjuna Mahendra. And
because they have no political other choice than to do that.
They have to. They have no option. They have to defend the Singaporean national, right? And remember, Mr. Mahendran also made some very serious accusations against the previous government. In respect of operations at the central bank, I think
the government but in the end of the day, that's a little bit rich for Mr. Mahendran. This is the same Mahendran we're talking about who used his official credit card to make millions worth of personal claims on that, but paid back. But
for us, if you inquire into all the other government officials and the ministers, right, you will realize most of them, not only Mr. Mahendra, it's very unfair, just one person is targeted. Why not inquire into the whole thing?
Yes, but this is the whole problem, Shamindra. When you start doing that, nobody gets to the bottom of anything. It's the same about the bond thing. What did the Prime Minister say when he came in and made a statement in Parliament? He spoke about failed businessmen, pumping and dumping, and all sorts of nonsense.
I think he spoke also about James Bond.
But he also spoke about James Bond. But, the point is, we're not telling them not to investigate. Yes, go ahead and do it. But don't put this thing on the back burner, which is what they've done. And every day that goes by, this matter is getting entrenched in the system. One of our viewers made the point and wanted to know why it is that we discuss this matter so much. Well, I'll tell you why. Because the amount of money is going to be in excess of 160 billion rupees over that full term. And that's money that should not have been spent. It was stolen, basically. That money, that entire cost of that. And if you're not worried about the loss to your country, well, it's sad, but that's why we continue to to mention it, and we will continue to mention it because it is a serious matter.
Very serious matter. Very serious matter. But I must tell you, for the past, say, 15-20 years, the previous government, the PA, the UPFA, and now this lot, they had never investigated properly, not a single case, revealed by court. So, you have a...
So are we hoping against hope that this one is actually going to end up in some real investigation and some real conclusion?
Perhaps, it's up to, the people who facilitated, this government,
baby bond,
who ousted the previous government and who ensured the Rajapaksas were moved out and a new government installed. I don't think they will allow this government to collapse. They will not allow, because it's beyond. But certain things are, for us, I believe, beyond the control of the SLFP and the UNP.
However, having said that, they won't allow it to collapse and so on. However, what does it say about the bond matter?
Nothing.
That's it. So the people can write that off. That's it. Gone.
You see, about the bond matter, a number of people, civil society organizations, especially people like Kirti Tennakuan, who had demanded investigations, who had attacked this scam. Nothing happened. Before 2015 January, the embassies, the international community, various people attacked Sri Lanka over transparency, accountability, corruption, but nothing, there's not a single statement issued by them, right? So, you will realize the international community does not care, right? They wanted the previous government out. That's it. So, this corrupt lot will continue. And
only to be replaced by another one.
Certainly. So for me, there's no difference between this lot and the previous lot. It's the same.
But that's sad.
Very sad situation for us.
But almost yesterday, I was at a press conference where they were hoping to discuss the Loon project, which is the Google Loon, the Balloons project, to provide low-cost island-wide cover for internet data and all that, internet connectivity and so on, using this new technology which Google are testing. What struck me was that the level of concern displayed by the media there, it wasn't just one network. Most of those people there had grave concern as to what appeared to be a lack of transparency. There wasn't any one thing, but they were all concerned. And I thought to myself that they're obviously all concerned because there is this ambience of corruption. And therefore, the people are naturally suspicious. And so the more...
The people, the media,
civil society, they're all suspicious. They're suspicious because that's what's available in the ambience right now. Every single project, as you said earlier, has got some form of controversy.
For us, people, when we realize that if such a huge scam could happen at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, and no action taken since 2015 early part, all the other institutions, they can do anything, right?
It pales into insignificance.
Yes. Now see, you take this case of emergency power.
Indeed,
Within 24 hours, they had a meeting. The next day they carried the advertisements, and they decided to hand over this matter. It's like that. So now, it's very serious allegation had been made against this official in respect of coal deal also. But the Deputy Minister of Power and Energy insisted there's nothing wrong with it. So we are given coverage to his side also. So the issue is at every level. At every level, a lack of transparency.
But it is, the purchase of coal is astonishing, the disregard, and based on Dr. Bhattagoda, who's allegedly advised the cabinet that, or praised him, that if you didn't continue with the purchase from that company in Singapore, that they would be open to
legal action.
Legal action. What legal action when the beginning has been flawed? And if that company wants to go to court, well, be our guest, go ahead and do it.
For us, remember, the government took his side and removed the person who revealed the scam, and he was moved to some other institution, and he replaced another fine public officer, right? I think Asoka Piris, right?
So this is all just musical chairs.
I tell you,
it's a good job we learned about musical chairs.
Bigger the corruption at the highest level, they have the protection. The previous government did it. These people are doing it. The next government also, I have no doubt,
will do it.
Will do it.
So what should the people do? Should they pay more attention to the March the 12th declaration? Think before you vote?
Yeah, I think people also go, if you examine past elections, general elections, those who faced the most serious allegations, always poll the highest number of votes.
Is that because all publicity is good publicity?
Good. I think so.
Right.
So for them, in a way, it does not matter. If Mr. Mahendran contests, he may end up getting a lot of votes, or he may come into parliament through the national list. Yes.
And what do you think? Can you speculate on what Sobhita Thero, the late Sobhita Thero, the catalyst of good governance in this country, what do you think he would have said about all this?
The Thero, of course, the late Thero, he wanted the former president out. And
but he wanted good governance. What about good governance?
I don't think so. These are all said by his people. No, now recently there were reports in the media that the Thero, the late Thero, had a vehicle worth 2 million rupees. So they just
probably a gift from somebody who was appreciative.
But can you accept a gift like that? Can you? Is it legal?
Well, I don't think it's illegal. But
if that gift happened to be given from taxpayers' money, if the government gave it, who gave it? Right, so a lot of issues. But, at
the end of the day, there's at least he came out forward and he ensured that people were committed, that they sat down together.
Both Thera and Atuliri Ratana Amaduru, they took a challenge.
Indeed.
And they led the campaign.
And they were able to hone in on this and to reflect the ground situation, which is that the people were deeply unhappy and suffering.
And they ended up bringing in a government which is as corrupt as the previous one.
Well, there seems to be no difference. Certainly we can agree on that.
Yes, so we can agree, very easily on that. There's no difference. It's the same crowd, you'll see, you take the civil society today for us, you'll see the same lot. They are backing Saitam, they are backing the issue over Vilpattu, forest cover, that
there are many issues, Shamindra Ferdinand, but thank you very much for coming in. We've run out of time. When we're having a good time, we always run out. It's too short a time. In the meantime, thank you very much again for coming on our program.
Thank you very much, Farah.
And that's it from Newsline today, and we wish you a wonderful weekend ahead. And we'll see you here on Monday, and on Tuesday we have His Excellency the Japanese Ambassador to Sri Lanka, who's coming here and telling us a few things that we'd all like to know. So do join us again, starting on Monday at 7 o'clock. In the meantime, take care. Have a great weekend. God bless.